Yeah, the SLR is probably one of my greatest moments, and yet, if I'd have got caught, I'd still probably be in jail. But we did it, and we were kids, and you know, we got away with it, and we lived to tell about it. We got word that the 300 SLR was coming to Spokane. Now you got to remember the 300 SLR was a factory purpose built race car. They only built 14 of them, 14 roadsters and two coupes. Well, this was supposed to be the coupe, and one of the coupes that had really never been raced. So we were all, oh, we're gonna get to see one. Well, I came to Portland to pick up a car for Dremco's, and I saw the car down here. And then a week or so later, why we had it in Spokane, and they told us don't try to start it because it doesn't have any camshafts. Well, the owner, we were standing there looking at it, and the owner says that car runs. And we go, what makes you say that, Fred? He says they wouldn't put 16 brand new platinum plugs in an engine that doesn't run. So 20 minutes later, we had it running. The car was absolutely amazing. I mean, it was just, it was so far ahead of its time. It was a straight 8, 3-liter, 245 horsepower, which in those days was big horsepower. Desert valves, fuel injection. It's before disc brakes were used much, so it had inboard front and rear drum brakes. A magnesium body. So that's why the coupes weren't used for racing. The drivers wouldn't drive them because, of course, if they crashed the darn things, well, they'd burn up, and driver included. So the drivers, even though they were faster, due to aerodynamics, they wouldn't push them as hard. But anyway, we had this car in Spokane, and the first night that we had it there, well, like I said, we got it running, and George Beaudry, he was a service manager, and Roger Clark took it out, and I was behind him in my Corvair convertible, and I never will forget, they were 2 blocks ahead of me, and I revved my own car because I couldn't hear it because of the noise that they were making. And anyway, the last night it was in Spokane, Paul said, I haven't driven that car, and I said, well, I haven't ridden in it. So he says, well, let's take care of that right now. So we took the thing out, and that was one of the most awesome experiences. I remember pulling the door down and thinking, I'm going to be shorter than I am already because I idled at 2,500 RPM. And the mechanical noise, of course, there's no insulation. You're sitting inside of a metal drum. And the mechanical noise was just absolutely deafening. Gears slashing and crashing and, just terrible sounds. And I thought, oh my gosh, and it was idling at 2,500. And of course, also at 2,500, about every 500 RPM, due to the overlap of the camshafts and stuff, fuel would build up in the exhaust pipes. And there'd be a big ball of fire come firing out the exhaust pipe, which was right underneath my door. And would light the shop up a little bit, and it was, pretty spectacular. And so anyway, we decided, well, okay, we're going to take it down the street. So we took it down the street, and we got up to about 4,000 in first gear, which was probably 45, 50 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, all that noise just went away, and it was just brute power, Of course, we couldn't keep it at that because we were, going way too fast. So we backed down, and I remember we were up by a restaurant, and we were passing this guy, and he looked over you were sitting there idling along at 2,500. He looked over to see a ball of fire between his car and the Mercedes, and he hit the curb and drove down the curb for a while. Luckily, there was no parked cars or parking meters or anything, and then he put it back on the street. And then we get over to Howard Street, and we punched it. And we took it up to probably $5,000 or so. I mean, I will say there's a pickup in Spokane that probably still wonders what the heck that was that went by him, because it was getting pretty close to dark, and we didn't see him until it was almost too late. And there was no stopping, so we just passed him, and He probably still to this day is wondering what the heck it was. And anyway, we drove the thing, and it was a once in a lifetime experience. They claim it's probably the world's most valuable car. In fact, the word is priceless. I think, yeah, two idiots in Spokane damn near crashed it, but